Hello, everyone. This is Bernie Floresca from Career Services with Kajal and Tom. And this is the very first job search clinic that we're actually holding. Hopefully the information helps some of you guys who are still in search mode right now. So just a little bit of background. The way I wanted to start this was really go through. Why don't we just do this? I had some slides prepared actually. Kajal, and while we were waiting for Tom, I kind of got you speaking along those lines. So, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see all right, cool. So welcome to the first job search clinic. I already did that. So here are typically the three questions that we're doing. And just for information, Tom, before you came on board, Kajal already said that instead of the check mark in the first bullet that you're seeing, Kajal was saying that she is not getting interviews. What is your situation, Tom?
Same for me. I'm not getting any interviews.
You're not getting any interviews. So
No.
usually when you're not getting any interviews, it points to the instrument by which we use to get the interviews, which is essentially the resume. So if you're not getting any interviews at all, we need to talk some more about the resume. And Tom, I think you already knew that. That's why you were sending me your resume to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
That's why I sent it to you, because I wanted some feedback on how I can improve and how I can make it look better. So
yeah, very good. That's kind of awesome because it happens to be that you guys are in the same category. So I could focus more on the resume for this call. But just for the purpose of this job search clinic for folks in general, there are three gating factors as to what we want to find. It just so happens that the first two of you aren't getting interviews. The second question I would have asked if this were a bigger group is if you are getting into interviews, but you never get offered the job. So people are calling in for the interview. This may be you guys at some point in time. So just realize that we could talk about that as well. But I'm sort of pleased that, both of you right now are in the resume part. Before we move on, I'd like to talk about the last piece where students that come to us for coaching, they say that they've been interviewing and then they find out at the last minute that the company is not hiring non-US students or job seekers. What are your thoughts on that?
So many times, we find roles on LinkedIn which are like they do specify in the description that they are looking for only US citizens.
Okay.
Yeah. So like for me, like I will first check if it's for international students or not, and only then I apply for those jobs.
Very good. Very good, Kajal. That's usually where I would start, but I still get students who come saying, they just find out in the later stages. So you said it very, very nicely, Kajal, and that before you even apply to a company, make sure you're not wasting your time by ensuring that they are hiring. What about you, Tom? What's your experience? And after Tom gives us his input, I'm going to show you to some other sites if you haven't heard of them yet. So Tom, what's your experience with
I feel about the same. I look if inside of the job description there is any information about the politics of the company, if they are hiring non-US citizens or not.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I also look at websites which list companies that already offered, for example, H-1B visas, for example.
Very good, very good. Which website is that?
What?
Which website? Well, which website? I'm just curious.
I'm really sorry, but I forgot I don't have the link right now. I can search for it if you want to.
Actually, yeah, why don't we do that so that you could also share the information with, let me stop sharing and you can share. We can share the information with Kajal because I have two other websites that I was going to share, but maybe yours is a third one. That would be great information. Let me allow the sharing, security, share screen. You should be okay if you want to share your screen. Meanwhile, Kajal, aside from checking the job description specifically, do you have any tools as well to determine if they're good with non-US job seekers?
No, like sometimes I do
No?
check their reviews.
Okay, good. I like the fact that you're checking before you go that, but based on, what Tom's sharing and then a couple more that I will share shortly, it would kind of help you out with what you're doing.
Okay.
So it's my
Can you
visa
s-
jobs.
Yeah. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, see it
So
beautifully.
here we can go to 2023 H1B visa reports, and we have a list of all the companies that have enrolled people with an H1B for
Very good.
2023. So basically, if you see a job offer and the company is in the list, it's a good
It's
thing
good to
because,
go.
yeah, absolutely. But you can actually search for a company here, so you can directly look if it's a good to go or not.
Did you say there is a search button?
Yeah, can you see my screen? Still?
We can see part of it. So is it at the top? Maybe that's why we're not seeing it.
I'm
We
sorry
see
about
number
it.
76 to 100, but it looks like it's cut off at the top.
Oh,
But
I'm really sorry. It's because I
Ah.
switched the tabs. Wait.
all right.
It's because
Thank you.
it opened another tab. That's why.
Good.
Here we
Thank you.
are. So this one here we can search.
Oh, beautiful.
It's the same website. I just clicked on another.
Okay, so it's myvisajobs.com
.com.
is what
Yeah.
you have been using. All right, good. We appreciate the information, Tom. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to share that with the rest of the screen. You guys also, by the way, when you're running into sites like Tom is using, feel free to share it in the LinkedIn group. That's the whole point of why we have the LinkedIn group, so that information like this, information is going around so that everybody finds jobs. You guys familiar with the LinkedIn group, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. So in the LinkedIn group, the index is usually on top. We keep this pinned to the top, and you simply click the link to get to the index. Once you're in the index, what you want to do is you want to do a Control F with a hashtag international. And if you notice, there is this H1BE5. So it's H1B, and then it's kind of like the IFY word at the end of it. So when you go, it's a Google Chrome extension that you could load onto Google, obviously, to help you, just like Tom's tool that he just shared. The other tool that you guys may want to check into, have you guys heard of Interstride?
No.
I haven't.
Okay, so good. So this is something, so both of you now know of 3 tools that could help you. So you just create with your IIT login, and then you go to this website. I actually have my Hawk ID. Well, I'm not Hawk because I use my employee ID. You guys can use your Hawk ID. And then the nice thing about this is you can sign on to their website and everything. I guess I'm not going to do this because it's going to detract from our discussion, but you guys just realized that you can get into it. Just like my, what was that again, Tom? My USA,
myvisajobs.com.
okay, myvisajobs.com. So
myvisajobs.com.
just like Tom was able to go in, the same thing happens with Interstride. And the beauty of it, just a little background about Interstride. Julie and I actually met the founder of Interstride at a conference last year, and he was an international students in the finance area. So the reason he created Interstride was he understands the issues of international students. So if you see a company posting a job on Interstride, just like you realize that they're non-US friendly, Interstride does the same thing. Did you guys have any questions? No
So
questions?
this Interstride is kind of a job portal, or is it like
It's
the
both.
Okay.
It's both. It's a job portal, kind of, well, it's definitely a job portal, and then it has some more information about all sorts of things. So you definitely need to check it out.
Okay.
Okay. And the
Yeah.
way to find that again is after you go to the index. Actually, I think I have 2 entries on Interstride out here. International. So I showed you 2 tools, H1B FI. H1B data.info, I think, is more talking about salaries, and then you have Interstride. And then there's an orientation video that you can check out at the very bottom, Kajal.
Yes.
All right.
Check it out. Yeah.
So let's go back to the presentation if you guys had no other questions about that. So there's 3 situations of like when you're not necessarily finding jobs. You guys both fall into the first category. Are you getting interviews? If the answer is no, the problem is definitely the resume. If you are going on interviews, but you're never getting the job. For example, I had a student who was saying they went to round 3 or round 4 of the interviewing stage, and they weren't getting selected. Well, that's some other area that we can address. And then we obviously address the last piece, whereby do not get into the situation that you're wasting all this time, and then you find out that they're not hiring non-US job seekers. So we just gave you 3 new tools to help you with that. Were there any other issues from either of you? Though I already know, I'm just opening up the 4 if you did. Yeah. Were there any other questions or situations that you guys want to bring up?
No.
Otherwise, okay. Otherwise, we're just going directly to resume.
No.
All right, cool. So this is what I was talking about with Kajol before you came on, Tom. So this is what I told Kajol to do before we go onto that screen. So Tom, when was the last job that you applied to? Fairly recently?
I actually can't remember.
That long ago, huh? Okay, well,
yeah.
just think of one job description that you've seen recently. Okay, think of the job description, and that obviously, since you put your resume together, you know what's in it, right? I want you to think of your resume in tandem with your with the job description that you looked at, and see whether you fulfill what we're saying in the next screen. It's saying that your resume makes you stand out to employers by highlighting your education, experience, and skills. Usually that's a given. People do that. I've seen both of your resumes. You have your experience, you have your education, and you have your skills, right? Experience can cover projects in the classroom, can cover previous internships, or can cover anything others that would support what they said in the job description. So the next sentence says, it's not a simple work history. It's a marketing tool that shows you as the best choice based on their job description. I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but I keep on talking about job description. Why do you think that is? Any idea on why I'm focusing on the job description?
Because like whoever the when the job seeker will try to match our resume with the job description, like whatever skills they want, if they find that in our resume, only then we'll go ahead. So
Yes. Very nicely worded, Kajol. So the reason I keep on bringing up the job description is, first of all, who put together the job description? It's the people who are hiring, correct?
Right.
So it should be obvious knowledge that if the person who is looking to hire gave you a wish list, so to speak, of what they're looking for, it would be to your best benefit if you tried to match it, right? According to your experience. The closer you get to their wish list, the higher your rank is on getting called in for an interview. In my conversations with various students, they're usually like, oh, I don't have time to do that. Well, if you don't have time to do that, that's probably why they're not calling you, because you're probably doing what most job seekers do, which is to create a generic resume, kind of look for keywords that are quote unquote common, and then cross their fingers, hoping that they're going to get called. So that may work. But if it's not working because you're not getting interviews, that's most likely what you need to change, okay? So it's a marketing tool that talks about the job description. So when we say it's rise above the crowd with tailored content, because when your information matches theirs, then they're more likely to give you a call. What are your reactions to this discussion point?
But what about, because for example, my resume, I put it in it all of my skills and everything. So if a skill which is mentioned in a job description is not in my resume, what can I do about it? Because it's a skill that I don't know, like I'm not going to fake it. So,
well, you're right. If you don't have the skill, you don't have the skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that your question? Because you're right. You can't lie either saying that you have it, because they will find out if they ever hire you, right?
Because it happens very often that I see descriptions with a big wish list.
Yes.
I fulfill some of them, but some of them I don't.
Yes.
And yeah, it's very, very often I have like half of the skills that are needed or that are in the job description, but I don't own the 50% which are left.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can understand that the people that are going to go through my resume will be like, yeah, he do have 50% of the skills, but he's missing this, and this.
Well, it's not necessarily like that. It depends on what it is that they're asking for. Maybe it was a less important skill. So it's more from the standpoint of, was this something that they can live with? Because if you're impressing them with other things, that's great. So two things. Number one, I love the fact that even if you're just going by 50%, you're still going for the jobs, because all they can say is no, right? But number two, you still have to attend to the rest of what they're saying in the job description. Obviously, the more you show them that there's some matching, the better your chances are. And if you don't have the skill, you don't have the skill. Kajol, any reactions to that?
Yes, I do agree with him. Like, even I face the same thing. Like, there's a list of skills required by the employers, and it's not always that we have all those skills. So, like, I've tried to learn those skills, but it's not always possible to get everything on your resume. So, yeah. So, like, what should be done in this case? Like, I've heard about ATS. They match the keywords in, like, the ATS matches keywords, and based on that, your resume gets selected. So sometimes I do think that maybe because of this reason, the resume is not going ahead.
There's quite a few things to unpack in what you said, Kajol. Number one, I like what you said about if you didn't have the skills, then you try to learn it. And then, I don't know, aside from learning, if you probably did some quick project that you could put on your resume with the skill, then that's good, rather than just saying you just learned the skill. But I like your mindset in that you went out and tried to learn that, the part that was missing. Okay. The second thing that you said was keywords. Just because you're going by keywords, when I hear students talking more, and I'm hearing more about it, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys right now, do not think of keywords in a vacuum, okay? It's more of what I said earlier, in that the job description is a wish list of what they have, and normally they're not just words, they're actually experience in what it is that they're asking for. So if your experience matches, then you talk about the experience, and the keywords kind of like normally follow, because you have experience in what it is that they want. The point I'm making is it's not just about, hey, go through the keywords, because there are apps out there that just like scrub the list going for the keywords, and then the student just goes and blindly just plugs it in the resume. That's not an efficient approach as well. You're just playing with words. It's really got to be more of the substance that you give them around the words that they want. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Questions about that?
So I do have one question. Like, I have some work experience, but the jobs that I am applying for right now, like my previous experience is not related to it. I have 3 years of work experience in software development, but right now I'm trying for data science and machine learning roles. So my work experience kind of does not match with the data science and machine learning profiles. So like in this case, the only way that I can show some show my work is through my projects.
Right.
So I've tried to include some GitHub links in my projects, like in my resume. But like
Actually, do you want to share your links right now? I'm looking to see if I have your resume. I don't have yours. I have Tom's. So
yeah, I'll share my resume.
So general, while we're waiting for Kajal to get a resume, general answer to your question is, if you have work experience in another field that is not in the field that you're applying for, you lessen the bullets that are talking about the non-related stuff. And you highlight, like you're saying, Kajal, you go to more of the relative stuff to what it is that you're looking for. In Kajal's case, it sounds like it's the projects that are going to stand out. Her work experience, I would diminish the work experience so it doesn't talk that much about what they want, and I would highlight the projects because that's what they're looking for. So let's see if Kajal did that. First impression of the resume. I have a first impression. I want to hear Tom's first impression.
It's a personal opinion, but I will put the experiences on the top before the education part.
Okay.
But beyond from that, I think there is all the informations that are needed, and it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me take you even a step lower from the human psychology experience, okay?
Yeah.
Even if my job as a hiring manager is to go through various resumes, you can imagine how many resumes I go through if I were the hiring manager. So question to you guys, what's more inviting to look at from a human psychology standpoint? Something that's packed with information or something with more white space?
White spaces.
White space. So
White space. So my first impression, Kajal, looking at this, is it's packed, okay? Going further into that, packed is not the issue, okay? A packed resume is not the issue. The problem is if it's packed also with non-relevant information. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So even without getting into the material, Kajol, would you say that everything out here is relevant? Or do you have some stuff in there that you put in hoping that it would relate to them?
So my experience, you can say, like my previous experience is not that related to what I'm applying for right now.
So which one is that in your resume right now?
The associate consultant experience.
Okay, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets.
So
So we just got rid of some white space out there.
yeah, I can.
All right, very good. What else?
So like in my skills, I've tried to mention all the skills separately, like by giving them some title. So maybe I could clean up something over there.
Very good. I'm liking your self-realization. When we do these conversations, it's not usually just us saying, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this. Part of it is you guys like learning this information. So did you notice how I came into like the human psychology type thing, even just talking about your resume? Because at the end of the day, you should always be thinking about the reader. You should always be thinking about your audience. If you're doing an interview, always be thinking about the interviewer. If you're doing a resume, always be thinking about the reader. Okay? So, because these are really the guiding principles as to whether your resume gets read or not. Right? So, Kajol already mentioned 2 pieces. Her non-related work bullet, she's going to diminish that. Her skills and abilities, you're going to make it more readable. Was there anything specific that you had in mind?
Maybe like I've mentioned some machine learning algorithms which I have applied in my project. So instead of mentioning it in my skills, I can mention it in my projects. The algorithms that I have used. Like I have mentioned too many supervised learning algorithms and then unsupervised, and I have used most of them in my projects. So maybe I can just mention.
So what you're going to do is going to increase the white space. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, good. Very good. So based on what we've spoken about so far, what else are you thinking of, Kajol?
Like I had this question that should I like my projects are more related to the jobs that I'm applying for. So should the project section be before the experience section?
Okay, very good topic. I'm glad you bring that up because Tom brought that topic up earlier, right? So a resume, actually, why don't we do this? Keep that open, but can you open up the LinkedIn group?
Yes.
And keep this open as well, because we're going to be going back and forth. So.
Okay. I'm just sharing the screen right now. I'll stop and I'll start again.
Okay. Meanwhile, did you have any other questions or comments, Tom?
No.
All right. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Are you able to think of some stuff for your resume while you're listening to me talk about Kajol's?
Not really. I was looking into it, but no.
Not yet. Okay, don't worry. We got
Not
your
yet.
resume. We'll talk about yours. So in the LinkedIn group, Kajol, very good. The group. Go to the index. Thank you. I want you to do a Control F, hashtag resume. So if you, there's this resume workshops. Under the workshops, go further down, please. You have the case studies. So I want you to click case study 6 better. Thank you. So go to the check marks. we're looking at check mark number 3, where it says templates are guides, they're not rules. So this is kind of like part of what Tom brought to your attention earlier, Kajol, because sometimes when you're given a template, job seekers think that that's kind of like fixed and it has to be that way. So different students, different job seekers have different things that they can highlight to make them rise in looking better to the hiring manager. So that being said, in your case, for example, Kajol, you said you had work experience. So to Tom's point earlier, work experience would be higher than education because you had it. But in your case, it's special because you said that the work experience that you had does not relate to the jobs that you're applying for. So if the projects, on the other hand, carry more weight than the work experience, I would put the project higher because I want to see that sooner, okay? Because if you go down to the list that you're seeing on the screen right now, check number 4 says, imagine yourself as the hiring manager. This is what I mentioned to you guys earlier. You want your resume to stand out. We didn't quite talk about results or tasks yet, but the next thing that we have, which is a basic principle in today's hiring world, hiring managers, because of the sheer number of resumes that they're getting, just simply do not have enough time. So when you're designing your resume, and this is part of why I talked about the white space, right? You know that they don't have a lot of time. So you should always be thinking, how do I make their job easier? Because they don't have a lot of time. And you want to do that in tandem with the last check mark. What does the last check mark say, Tom?
They have
To make the manager's job easier.
Yeah.
It's best to structure a resume. And then what was checked?
To give manager
To
easy
give
path.
manager easy, fast, and
Easy,
access to relevant
fast
information.
access to the relevant information sooner.
Yeah.
Versus later. And that's kind of what Tom was suggesting earlier, Kajol. He was saying that, you would put your experience above education because the relevant information to the hiring manager in your case, because you had the experience and the projects, would really be those versus the education. Make sense?
Yes.
So could we please jump back to your resume? So what is the first item that we see in Kajol's resume is profile, right?
Yes.
So could you make that bigger? Or could you read it out, please?
A mission focused, highly motivated, result and goal driven.
And goal driven. Okay, stop right there. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. And this is another problem. And Tom, I don't know what you did. Did you have a section at the top, either objective, profile, or summary? You didn't.
Yeah. There is one.
You did or did not? Oh, you have one.
I did.
Okay. So here's the problem with what Kajol did. She kind of does what most people do. She says she's mission focused, that she's highly motivated, that she's resolute, and she's goal driven. I'm the hiring manager. You don't know me. How do I know that this is true? You don't.
You don't, yeah.
So it's kind of like useless information because I'm just throwing words out there. Well, obviously you think you are, that's why you put it on. But again, think from the reader's perspective. They're a stranger, they don't know you, you're making claims. So how do they know that you're goal driven? And actually, this is the reason why some people say, do not even put in an objective, because usually this is what people put in objectives. You happen to have called it profile. Did what I say just make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then you said AI, ML engineer looking for opportunities in machine learning, data science, ML ops. Okay. They know they're hiring for a particular job, but do they necessarily really care about which opportunities you're looking for? Not really, right? As a hiring manager, their focus is to find the best candidate, right? So there's a way, instead of saying that you're looking for opportunities in this, why don't you tell them the results that you accomplished in what they said they wanted in the job description? Let me repeat. Instead of telling them what it is that you're looking for, why don't you tell them what you've accomplished in the list, i.e. the job description that they're looking for? Do you understand why that would be why that would better serve you?
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that you guys structure it, I mean, it's how would you call it? It's standard. This is how everybody else does it. Okay. And that's why some people say don't even put an objective, because it's useless to the busy hiring manager. Remember, they're busy. If they're here to find out whether you're the one who fits the job, why don't you tell them what your results are in what they're looking for? Do you think that will turn their heads more?
Yes.
You probably would. Yes. So looking through the rest of the stuff, you guys kind of know already. Kajol said she's a well-organized with 4 years of work experience, et cetera, et cetera. Can you go back to one of the examples from the resume from the other screen? Actually, go down. I work with Rutika lately. If you click at the bottom right, there's a rectangle. Yeah, click that. And then click the plus sign to make it bigger, please. Take a look at the summary that Rutika came up with. I want you guys to tell me if it's accomplishing what we just discussed. Is Rutika giving the hiring manager information about the job description? Well, we assume she tailored this to the job description, but do you guys understand what's going on here? Was Rutika making claims? No, she's giving them data, unquestionable data, because she already accomplished this. You guys getting ideas?
Yes.
Questions? No questions? Okay, let's go back to your resume, please.
So in my case, like the accomplishments that I can show in my profile is related to my projects, because that that is what will be related relative to the job description.
Yes. And actually, Kajol, the advantage of having a profile or a summary at the top is you get to call it up. Remember when we said we want to give them the information sooner versus later? If they tried to follow your resume, starting from the top, going to the bottom, and then it's taking them a while to get to the relevant information, our strategy is to capture what is related and put it on top by virtue of the profile / summary. You decide what you want to call it because this is your resume. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is, in your case, because you're special, the relative information, the relevant information is at the bottom. We're bringing it up by virtue of the profile / summary section. Questions? We're done. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I can move the education section below, and what about the skills section? Should it be on the top, or it should be after the projects?
Guess what I'm going to defer to answer that question. Based on what we've discussed so far, what do I keep on stressing is the most important piece in your job search? I brought it up in the beginning of our conversation. You don't remember?
The job description and the shopping
Exactly.
list?
Exactly. The
Kind
job
of shopping list,
The
obviously.
job description is there shopping list. I called it wish list, but I guess Tom
Wish
wants to
list.
go shopping.
Wish list.
Tom wants to go
Yeah.
shopping, so I called it the shopping list. So I called it the wish list of the employer. So I always keep on going back. So in relation to Kajol's question is, should my skills be higher here versus the projects? I'm going to defer back to the job description. Based on your reading of the job description, what would be more important to them? That makes sense? Kajol?
Yes. Yeah.
So whenever in doubt as to what should go first, what should I delete? The question is always, is it relevant to the reader by virtue of the job description? That's always your guiding principle. So usually when people have bullets, kind of like that part earlier where you had that whole section where Kajol said, you know, this is not really relative to the job I'm looking for. Is it relevant? The answer is no, gone. It's just that simple. One of the issues with us as STEM people, as engineers, scientists, et cetera, is we're trained in the classroom to be comprehensive. The information has to be complete, accurate. When you're applying for a job, it's not about that. Because first of all, we said the hiring managers are very busy. So should it be complete or should it be relevant? Relevant will always win every single time. Other questions? If you didn't have any more, I want to go back to the resume homework, and then we're going to go to Tom's. Actually, to help you some more, can you go back to that screen, Kajol, please? There, actually, the index, not this one. Close this, go to the index.
This is the,
Oh, yeah, very good. So it's actually the second piece. No, that's the recording.
this is the index.
You actually opened up the right one. So under control, hashtag resume. And then the third bullet says resume iteration.
Should I
Yeah,
open?
click. Yeah, please. And then once you're in to the check marks that are green, I already showed you hashtag resume. You guys saw the workshops, right? The recordings.
Yes.
And then you guys saw the case studies. Actually, there's 6 case studies now because we just look at case study 6. Between listening to the recordings, the recordings are other examples of how I'm going through somebody's resume, like I am with Kajol right now. The beauty of listening to me coaching somebody else is because you are not the highlight. So you can focus more as an observer. And as I'm coaching somebody else, you get to listen to it and think of your resume in the process. So that's the value of the 6 workshops that you have. Questions about the resources, Kajol? Because it sounds like you have some work to do.
I don't have any questions right now.
All right, we'll go to Tom's resume, and then you can be the observer this time, Kajol,
Yes.
as we go through Tom's. So Tom, we obviously had some discussions and you kind of know what to do, what not to do. I want you to give a self-assessment and a self-critique to your resume as it is right now, because number one, it lets me check in to see if you understood what we've said so far. And then number two, we're kind of like going through this with you.
Bonnie, before you start, I just had one more question.
Mhm.
Should there be links in my resume or not? Hyperlinks?
There's 2 thoughts to that question. I just came from an ATS applicant tracking system workshop like a few weeks back. They said that there are over 200 different applicant tracking systems, okay, across different companies. Obviously, some are most commonly used than others, but the point is you never know which ATS the company uses. And usually applicant tracking systems are just parsers. They're dumb. number one, they don't understand columns. So if you're submitting a resume that's like in columns, you're taking the chances that the final product after the ATS goes through your resume is not legible. So they kind of said not to include hyperlinks. And they also said the simpler it is, the better. But one of the hyperlinks that students normally put in is their LinkedIn hyperlink. So I didn't really directly answer your question, Kajal.
Yes, so like I have some project links as well, along with LinkedIn and GitHub links.
No, I got that. But did you catch what I just said? So
Yeah,
you're
like
taking your chances if you put it in or you don't, was kind of the answer. So it's up to you. But the
okay,
recommendation from the workshop is the simpler, the better.
okay, got it.
Final question before we go to Tom's?
No.
All right, Tom, Kajol bought some time for you so that you can go through your resume and give us a self-critique. What are you thinking right now after you saw it? You kind of went the other direction. If you could make it bigger, that would be great. You made
Okay.
it smaller, actually. Great, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's to have an
Oh,
overview
from
of
your screen? Oh,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So I think this profile paragraph can be improved depending on the job offer description, because this is pretty general description of myself, but
Mhm.
it's cannot suit to any job description. It must be focused on specific things,
Mhm.
because it can't suit like it will really depend on any job offer from job to job. So I don't think this paragraph fits.
Okay.
So I think I should change that depending on each job, because basically the only thing that I can keep is maybe this one.
Yes, well, that's a fact. You can't change that, okay?
Yeah, but all of these things, I
Actually,
think,
some of the other things, they're not bad. They're actually facts. That you manage the development of 3 mobile applications from customer, it's good, okay? Because it's a fact. It's not like a claim saying I'm hardworking, that sort
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Yours is actually a fact that you did. The way to make this more effective is to give the reader context of what the impact is to what you did. So you managed the development of 3 mobile apps. So the way, by virtue of you saying 3, that's actually good. Because if it was just 1 app versus 3 apps, you accomplish managing 3 mobile apps from the customer needs to production apps on stores. When you listen to the workshops that we're talking about, part of the method of finding out the accomplishments is you're going to notice this when you listen to the workshops, because there's me and then there's the student who's being coached. So the method I do with the students is say, okay, let's talk about these apps that you manage, Tom. So talk to me about it. So Tom's
In
just
fact, there
gonna,
is the details of from it in the experience, because they are basically listed here. But so
no, that's good. But again, to our point earlier that in the top, you should catch their attention. You kind of said,
yeah,
oh yeah, but the details are in the bottom. Well, guess what?
yeah.
Maybe they just looked
But
at the top and they don't like it. They just
yeah,
dumped it. You lost your chances.
yeah,
Making sense?
yeah, totally, yeah.
So we need to reword what you have and whatever detail. Let's see your detail, by the way,
Yeah, you have
for
it
that
right.
particular where you manage the 3.
So it's this one and these 2.
Okay, but the part that you said you manage 3 apps, which one is it? The top one?
No, it's 3.
Oh,
It's 3
it's a
different
summary.
experiences.
I got
One
it.
app is one experience because it was
I got it.
freelancing
And then you kind of like generalize, and then you just said you had 3
Yeah.
mobile apps.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
So very good. You're giving us a different nuance. So you tried to summarize it on the top. So here's my recommendation for you, Tom. So if I had to go through your entire resume right now, summarizing that you managed 3 was good. So of the bullet points that you have under those 3 items, what would be the most impressive to a hiring manager based on the job descriptions that you've seen so far?
I think it's
Which
about
bullets?
mastering like the actual technologies, because they are always looking like the keywords. I'm working with Flutter, Firebase.
So which
and
one? That
maybe
first bullet? Is that
yeah,
good?
yeah,
Developed
I
an
think
iOS
this one,
Android
yeah,
application from scratch,
because
Firebase.
it says I developed the app from scratch. Like I basically managed the application from customer needs to production, and it also talks about the technologies that are looked like the recruiter is looking for those technologies. So it's the most important key point.
Okay, so what else aside from that?
I tend to think that in the 3 of them, it's kind of the same in each of them, because the only thing that the
Did we lose Tom?
only difference.
Tom, you're coming in and out. Tom,
Can you hear me?
now it's better. Kajol, did you hear that? Was it the same as
I
me, or
can,
is it?
yeah, I can hear him right now, but earlier his voice was breaking.
Okay, you were breaking, Tom. So now we hear you okay.
Me, I will switch off the video. It will be better. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We can hear you
Yeah.
okay.
So I was saying that maybe the 3 of them are almost the same, because it's 3 different projects, but it's like a mobile app with the same technologies and everything.
Mhm.
So I tend to think that maybe they can be merged into one experience, because
Maybe
I
not,
don't
but
know.
I'm noticing one thing already with your bullets.
Yeah.
They're all descriptions. Manage the
Yeah.
life cycle of product, brainstorm, discuss with the customers to identify core features. You're not giving more of the impact. So I'm wondering if, can we switch really
Okay. Yeah.
quickly? Can we switch really quickly back to, Kajol, did you have anything that had quantifiers in your bullets?
I think I have your resume right here. I can.
Oh, cool. That's even better. So can you go to one of her bullets, please? Scroll. I see one already. For her software engineer, it's not relevant to her, obviously. There's a plus sign at the bottom, Tom, if you want to make it bigger, please.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So just for the purpose of our discussion, we know that Kajol already said that the software engineer is not what she's looking for, but take a look at her last bullet. She says that she developed programs in Python to automate the process by converting from multiple scripts. Some of the stuff can be gotten rid of, but the part that she highlighted is really what's giving context to the hiring manager, that she saved project time by 25%.
Yeah.
So what was missing in general, because I kind of like glanced through all your bullets, Tom, was the similar thing, like the saved project 25%.
Yeah, because it's only description of what I've done, but no impact on the actual client needs or project. Like there is no final. Yeah, I see.
Yes, and in the workshops and in the case studies, between the workshops and the case studies, like I was sharing earlier, I'm showing you a method as to how to get that out from your experience.
Okay.
Make sense? So
Yeah.
I guess I realized that we're kind of like on the top of the hour right now, but I have 10 more minutes before I go to the next meeting. For both of you, this was a really, really good discussion in the context of both of your resumes. So let me give Tom airtime right now since we have his resume up. Were there any questions as far as next steps for you based on the resources shared and the discussion that we've had so far?
No, I think it was pretty clear. It gave me some good keys to improve the resume. So yeah.
You know what to do next, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. Why don't both of you come up with the next version after you go through the homework and then send it to me either by email or on LinkedIn. And then if you guys are okay, we can have a follow-up session if we don't even do it before next Thursday at the same time. Is that good to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
And before Thursday, if you have a final version, because I know both of you are looking for jobs, so we don't necessarily need to wait for Thursday. If you have something sooner, feel free to send it to me. I can make comments before it, but I'm just saying clear your calendars for next Thursday if you want to have a follow-up like this where it's more live and interactive in a group setting. Questions?
Bernie, are there any other job portals apart from LinkedIn? Like I know about Indeed, but any other do you suggest? Like,
Yeah. Career Builder or others. Actually, why don't we go to, so you're looking for data engineer jobs, right?
data science, yeah.
So let's all do it. In Google, you just say job portals for data science jobs. I'm gonna change it more. It's kind of like doing Chat GPT. I'm giving it instructions. It's only as good as the instructions I give it. So I say best job portals for data science jobs. You guys can do the same thing on your end. They're showing Pathrise, they're showing Hired, they're showing Dice. The bad thing about the top is they're sponsored, so you don't know whether they're good or not. Excuse me, I see one that says 13 best data science jobs.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing the same thing on your end?
Yes, I'm actually trying on Chat GPT.
That's even better. Other questions? All right, guys. Thank you so much for creating this good group atmosphere where we had group learning, obviously. If you guys have any further questions individually, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn.
Sure, thank you.
And I'm excited
Thank you.
to take a look.
Thank
I'm
you
excited
for-
to take a look at your next versions.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let's talk soon.
Yeah.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye-bye.
See you
Have a
soon.
good day.
Bye. Thank you for your time.